The desert was silent. Winds blew across the endless sand, making the hot air dance. The sun hung high in the sky like a giant burning eye. Nothing moved, no animal, no human. Just sand, until a figure appeared on the horizon. Jack, a human soldier, walked slowly through the desert. His clothes were dusty, his boots were torn. He carried a small bag and a broken rifle on his back. He had no mission now. The war had ended months ago, and he had been left behind. But he didn't care anymore. He just walked. Then he saw it. A strange shape in the distance. Not a rock, not a hill. Something metal, shiny, broken. Jack squinted. His soldier's instinct told him it was a ship. He moved closer, his heart beating faster. The ship had crashed hard. One side was buried in the sand. The metal was cracked and blackened. Smoke rose slowly from the back engines. But it was not a human ship. No, it was alien. Jack stepped carefully. The ship was silent. Maybe everyone inside was dead. He reached the door. It was half open, sparks flying from its edges. Jack pulled out a small tool from his bag and forced it open. It creaked loudly, echoing in the dry air inside. It was dark and cold. Wires hung from the ceiling. The lights blinked weakly. The air smelled like smoke and burning plastic. Jack moved slowly, eyes alert, gun ready. Then he heard something, a sound, soft, a whisper, like someone breathing. He followed it, through a narrow hall, past blinking panels, until he reached a small room. The door was almost closed, but not locked. Jack pushed it gently, and there she was. A girl, no, not human, an alien princess. She sat on the floor, her back against the wall. Her skin was light blue. Her eyes were large and glowing. Her long, silver hair was messy and full of dust. Her arm was bleeding, and her dress was torn. She looked scared, like a child lost in a storm. Jack didn't move. He raised his hands slowly. "It's okay," he said. "I'm not here to hurt you." She stared at him, her body shaking. She said something in her language, but Jack didn't understand. "I want to help," Jack said softly. "You're hurt." She pointed a small, glowing knife at him. Her hand trembled. Jack didn't step closer. He just sat down on the floor, far from her. "My name is Jack," he said. "I'm a soldier from Earth." The girl looked at him for a long time. Then, slowly, she lowered the knife, but her eyes stayed locked on him. Jack opened his bag and took out a small water bottle. He placed it on the floor and pushed it gently toward her. "Water," he said. "You need it." She looked at the bottle, then at him. Slowly, carefully, she took it. She drank. Her hands still shook, but her breathing calmed a little. Jack smiled. "Good," he whispered. He stood up, and looked around the room. Broken wires, cracked panels, burnt circuits. The ship was damaged badly. "You need this ship to fly, right?" Jack asked. She didn't answer, but her eyes followed him. "I can fix it," he said. "We'll try to." He walked out and headed toward the engine room. The panels there were worse. Some wires had melted. The cooling system was broken. He didn't have many tools, but he could try. Hours passed. The sun outside began to set. Jack worked quietly, wiping sweat from his face. He used pieces from his own gear to fix the coolant. He reconnected broken wires. Slowly, the engine lights turned green. Suddenly, he heard footsteps behind him. He turned fast, ready to fight. But it was her. The alien girl stood in the doorway, watching him. She didn't look as afraid now. Tia, she had cleaned her wound. Her knife was gone. "I fixed some of it," Jack said, "but it's not ready yet. I'll need more time." She walked closer. Then, in broken English, she whispered, "Why? Help me. Jack paused. He looked at the stars through a broken window. Because you're alone, he said. And, no. One deserves to be left alone. She looked at him, her eyes soft now. She said something in her language. Can't. Jack didn't understand, but it sounded like, thanks. Just then, the ship's alarm beeped. A red light flashed. Jack checked the screen on an enemy signal. The ship was coming. Fast. He turned to her. Are they looking for you? The girl nodded slowly. Jack grabbed his rifle. Then, we don't have much time. Outside, in the growing darkness, a shadow moved across the sky. Someone was coming. The red alarm light kept blinking. Jack stood near the control panel, breathing hard. The screen showed a small enemy ship getting closer. Time was running out. The alien girl, Serena, looked at Jack with fear in her glowing blue eyes. She whispered something in her language, then pointed toward the control room. Jack nodded. We have to hide, he said. But first, need to make this place stronger. Jack shut off the blinking alarm, then checked the ship's defense systems. Most of them were broken, but one shield generator was still working. He connected a few wires and powered it up. A blue light buzzed around the ship. Weak, but better than nothing. Buy us time. Jack muttered. Serena walked beside him, limping slightly. Her wound had stopped bleeding, but she was still weak. The cat helped her sit in a chair. She watched him closely, studying his movements. I need to know more, Jack said. Who are you really? Serena paused. She looked down, then reached into a hidden pocket of her suit. She pulled out a small, round crystal. It glowed softly in her hand. Jack leaned closer. What's that? He asked. Serena placed the crystal on a round platform on the wall. Suddenly, the room changed. The walls turned into glowing screens, showing her planet green skies, floating cities, beautiful towers. Jack's eyes widened. This is your home, he whispered. She nodded slowly. The image zoomed in. It showed a tall palace, shining like gold under the sky. Soldiers in silver armor stood outside. Then the image changed. Fire, explosions, people running, ships crashing. War, Jack asked. Serena's voice was soft. My family, royal, my father, king. They wanted peace, but some wanted power. Jack understood now. Serena was not just an alien girl. She was a princess. Till, and someone wanted her dad. Why you? He asked. They fear me, she said. I know the code. The gate code. Gate code. Serena walked to a hidden panel and opened it. Inside was another crystal, this one dark and pulsing with energy. This opens the Stargate, she said. A portal. It's a safe place, but only I know it. Jack stared at her. He had repaired her ship without knowing who she really was. And now, helping her meant standing against an alien empire. Before he could speak, the ship shook. A loud sound echoed from above. Jack ran to the monitor. The enemy ship had landed. He looked at Serena. Can your ship fly now? She shook her head, still broken. Jack grabbed his rifle and checked his ammo. Then I'll buy us more time. Serena stood, touching his arm. Dangerous, she said. I have faced worse, Jack said with a grin. Besides, I've got a princess to protect. He opened the side hatch and stepped out into the sand. The sun had set. The sky was dark now, filled with stars. And just beyond a sand hill, Jack saw it, a tall, black ship, glowing red. Underneath, one figure stepped out, wearing dark armor. Its face was hidden, but his eyes glowed orange. Jack hid behind a rock. He aimed his rifle and waited. The figure moved slowly toward Serena's ship. Jack whispered, Not today. He fired. The shot hit the enemy's armor, knocking it back, but the figure didn't fall. It turned fast and fired back, a red beam. slicing the sand near Jack's leg. Jack rolled, dodged, and fired again. The desert echoed with blasts. Inside the ship, Serena watched from the monitor. Her hands trembled. She touched the glowing crystal again, and a secret compartment opened aside, were small tools and a glowing wristband. She took them, then limped toward the engine. "I helped too," she whispered. Outside, Jack was losing ground. The hunter was faster, stronger, and well-armed. Jack's rifle clicked empty. The enemy raised his weapon. But just then, a loud blast, a beam from the ship's cannon, fired out, hitting the enemy in the chest. The figure flew backward and crashed into the sand. Jack turned in shock. The ship's gun had fired. He looked at the doorway and saw Serena standing tall, a wristband glowing on her arm. "You have good aim," Jack said, smiling. Serena smiled back, tired but proud. The hunter's body began to shake. It stood up again. Jack's smile faded. He's not done. But the enemy didn't attack. Instead, it tapped a button on its suit and vanished, teleporting away in a flash of red light. Jack rushed back inside. "Are you okay?" he asked Serena. She nodded. "He will return with more." Jack looked at the ship's systems. "We need to leave, and soon." Serena held out the dark crystal. "Then come with me," she said. "Help me reach the gate." Jack stared at the crystal, then at Serena. He had no reason to go. No home to return to. No orders to follow. But looking at her, something told him this journey was far from over. He nodded. "I'm with you." Night had fully covered the desert. Stars twinkled above like tiny lights in the sky, but the silence below was heavy. Inside the damaged ship, Jack checked the controls again. Some systems were working now, but the ship still couldn't fly. Serena stood beside him, watching the monitor carefully. Her long silver hair was tied back, and the glowing wristband on her arm pulsed with light. She looked calm, but Jack could see the fear in her eyes. "He will come back," she said softly. Jack nodded. "Yeah, and next time, he won't be alone." They had only hours, maybe less. Jack opened a panel and took out a small toolkit, started checking the outer defense grid. Its shield was still weak, and the ship's main gun had only one shot left. "Can we escape if the ship is fixed?" he asked. Serena looked at him and nodded. "Yes, if engine's stable. Then we go to gate." Jack looked down at the wires. "Then let's make sure we get that chance." Far away, the enemy ship returned. The black-armored hunter stood at the top of a sand dune. Watching Serena's ship in the distance, he tapped a small device on his wrist. In a few moments, two more figures arrived beside him, both in armor, both silent. He raised his hand. "Alive," he said in a low, robotic voice. "The girl must be taken alive." The two hunters nodded. They moved forward like shadows. Back at the wreck, Jack worked as fast as he could. His hands were dirty arms, covered in sweat, but his mind was sharp. Years of being a soldier had taught him how to work under pressure. He built simple traps around the ship. Wires connected to flares, hidden flash bombs in the sand, a sharp spike trap made from broken metal. Serena watched quietly. "You fight like warrior," she said. Jack smiled a little. "I've had practice." "Why?" she asked. "Why help me?" Jack paused. Then he looked at her and said, "Because you're trying to survive. And because it feels right." Before she could reply, a loud click echoed outside. Jack's eyes narrowed. "They're here." Suddenly, a bright red beam shot through the air. It missed the ship by inches and exploded in the sand. Jack jumped to his feet and ran to the front door. He peeked outside and saw the three hunters moving quickly. He turned to Serena. "Stay inside. Lock the door. Only open it if I knock 3 times. "But," she started. Jack cut her off. "No, I need you alive. Okay. This isn't just about your ship now. Okay. He ran outside and disappeared into the dark. The first hunter stepped on a hidden wire dot. Boom. Okay. A flash bomb exploded in his face. He stumbled back, blinded for a few seconds. Jack fired a shot from behind a rock, hitting the second hunter in the arm. The creature roared and fired back. But Jack had already moved. He rolled behind a pile of metal, reloaded, and tossed a flare into the sky. The flare lit up the desert, revealing all three enemies. Jack grinned. Now I see you. The fight was wild. One of the hunters leaped through the air, landing behind Jack. They fought hand to hand, Jack dodging fast blows, using his strength and speed. He managed to stab the hunter in the side with a sharp metal spike. The hunter screamed and fell, but Jack wasn't done. The leader charged him with a red energy sword. Jack blocked it with a metal rod, sparks flying between them. He kicked the hunter back and ran toward the ship. Serena, he shouted. Now. Inside, Serena powered up the last remaining cannon. She aimed carefully, breathing fast. The hunter ran after Jack, but just before it could strike, Serena pulled the trigger. Boom! A blast hit the sand, sending dust and fire into the air. Hunter flew backward, armor smoking, and landed hard. Silence. Jack coughed, brushing dust off his face. That was amazing, he said, looking up at the ship. Serena opened the door and ran to him. You okay? She asked, still breathing. Jack said, smiling. They walked back into the ship. Jack limped slightly, but he was smiling. Serena helped him sit down and started bandaging his arm. You saved me again, Jack said. No, she replied softly. We saved each other. Jack looked at the blinking screen. The enemy ship was destroyed, and the hunters were gone for now, but there was no time to rest. The engine was ready. The ship could fly. Again, Serena placed a glowing crystal into the control panel. Lights came on. The ship's systems hummed to life. She looked at Jack. You ready? She asked. Jack stared out the window at the desert, his old life, his war, everything he was leaving behind. Then he looked at Serena. I'm ready, he said. Let's find that gate. The ship lifted off the desert floor. A soft rumble shook the sand below as the engines came to life. Dust and broken metal scattered as Jack and Serena finally left the burning planet behind through the front window. The sky turned from red to black as they crossed into space. Jack leaned back in the co-pilot seat, breathing heavily. His arms were scratched and his ribs ached, but he didn't complain. His eyes stayed on the stars outside. Serena sat beside him, her hands moving across glowing controls. Her face looked calm now, but her eyes were still tired. The glow from her wristband flickered softly. Where to now? Cock asked how Serena tapped a few buttons. A hologram appeared in front of them, showing a distant star system. There, she said. The gate. If we reach it, we can escape them forever. How far is it? 2 days, Serena said. If engines hold. Jack nodded. Then let's make it count. Hours passed. The stars outside looked peaceful, but Jack knew better. He knew they weren't safe yet. In the small control room, Jack worked on more repairs. Serena rested nearby, watching him quietly. You fix like engineer, she said with a small smile. Jack chuckled. I wasn't always a soldier. I built things once before the war took everything. Serena tilted her head. Family, gone, Jack said simply. I lost them years ago. That's why I joined the army. He looked at her. What about you? Serena lowered her gaze. Her voice was soft. My father was king. He believed in peace. But many in our world wanted war. They said peace made us weak. So they killed him. Jack's eyes hardened. That's why they're hunting you. She nodded. Kella, if I live. peace can return. If I die, war wins. Jack stood quietly, then walked over to her. You won't die, he said. Not while I'm with you. She looked up at him. Her silver hair shimmered under the ship's lights. You always protect, she whispered. Why? Jack sat beside her. I don't know, he said honestly. Maybe because I've seen enough people break. You still believe in something better. I want to believe too. There was a long silence. Then Serena stood and walked to a locked compartment. She opened it and took out a small box. Inside was a metal ring with glowing lines across its surface. This, she said, is a royal bond ring. It's a symbol of loyalty. It's on my world. Giving it to someone means ... trust, deep trust. She held it out to Jack. He blinked. You're giving this to me? She nodded. You repaired my ship, saved my life, stayed ... even when you could leave. Jack took the ring slowly, feeling its weight. I'll wear it, he said. Not because of a title, but because I gave you a promise I'll see you safely home. Serena smiled softly. You are no longer just a soldier. Suddenly, alarms beeped. Jack jumped up and rushed to the console. Red lights flashed on the screen. Enemy ship, he said. It's following us. Serena checked. The radar. Same hunters. They tracked us again. How? Jack asked. Serena pointed to the engine. Old beacon. Still active. A mistake. Jack cursed under his breath and grabbed his rifle. We can't fight them again, he said. Not out here. Serena said, but there is an asteroid field ahead. We reach it. We can hide. Okay. Jack stared at the glowing map. The asteroid belt was thick, full of danger, but it was their best chance. Then let's fly fast, Jack said, and not look back. The ship sped through the stars. Behind them, the black hunter ship gave chase, firing red beams through space. One blast hit their side, shaking the entire cabin. Jack gripped the controls. Hold on. Serena guided the ship toward the asteroid field. Giant rocks spun in every direction. Some crashed into each other with loud booms. This is crazy, Jack shouted. Trust me, Serena called back. They weaved through the flying rocks, dodging every blast. Jack activated the shields again, even though they were weak. A huge asteroid blocked their path, too big to go around. Jack yelled. Serena pushed a button, and the ship's wings folded inward. Up. They shot straight through a narrow gap, just barely making it. The enemy ship tried to follow, but one wrong turn made it crash into a spinning rock. A fiery explosion lit the sky behind them. Jack looked back, his heart pounding. We lost them, for now. They drifted into a quiet space, pocket between the rocks. The danger was gone temporarily inside the ship. Both Jack and Serena sat quietly. I thought we were done for, Jack said with a grin. You believed, Serena said, smiling too. He looked at the glowing ring in his hand. Let's reach that gate, Jack said, and let's make sure your father's dream doesn't die. Serena nodded slowly. The stars wait for us, she said, and for the first time in years. Jack felt like he wasn't lost anymore. The stars began to fade. A large red planet appeared in the distance, glowing like fire under a dark sky. Serena stared at it through the front window, her eyes full of pain and silence. That's your home? Jack asked quietly. Serena nodded. Yes, this was once a beautiful world. Now it's broken. Jack looked closer. The planet was covered in smoke. Giant cities were half destroyed. Rivers were dry. Strange black clouds circled above like vultures. Fires burned in different places. It was not the home Jack had imagined. For a princess. What happened? He asked. Serena's voice was soft. War. Greed. When my father died, the peace broke. Now, only the strong rule. My people live in fear. Jack touched the control panel, and the gate. It's here. Serena pointed to a mountain range, hidden under the royal palace. Only I know the way inside. Then we'll find it, Jack said. Together, the ship landed quietly in a forest outside a ruined city. They could not land near the palace. Enemy ships still watched the skies. Jack stepped out first, his rifle ready. Serena followed him, wearing a long hooded cloak to hide her face. The trees were blackened, and the ground was full of ashes. This place feels dead, Jack said. Serena's eyes were full of sorrow. It was once alive. Birds sang here. Children played here. Now, only silence. They walked 4 miles, crossing broken bridges and empty streets. Rusted signs hung from walls. Tall buildings leaned sideways, as if tired of standing. Finally, they reached an old tunnel under the city. In here, Serena whispered, the rebel base is near. The tunnel led them to an underground station. There, in the shadows, stood 3 figures. They aimed strange weapons at Jack and Serena. Stop, one of them shouted. State your name. Serena pulled down her hood. The rebels froze. Princess Serena. One of them whispered in shock. All 3 fell to their knees. You live. We thought you were dead. Serena nodded. I escaped, but we don't have much time. I need to reach the gate under the palace. One rebel stood. Many of us still fight in your name, but the city is crawling with hunters. If they see you, they will kill you. Jack stepped forward. Then we moved quietly, fast. Show us the way, the rebels agreed. They led Jack and Serena through hidden tunnels toward the heart of the city. Every step felt heavy, like the walls shook, sometimes as distant bombs exploded above. After 2 hours, they reached a safe room near the palace walls. Serena looked through a small crack. The royal palace stood tall, but broken. Parts of the walls had fallen. Towers leaned to one side. But even now, the building glowed with golden light. This was my home, she said softly. I grew up here. I played in those gardens. I learned to speak in that hall. Jack placed a hand on her shoulder. You'll stand there again? As a queen. But before she could speak, a loud alarm blared outside. Red lights filled the air. They found us. A rebel shouted. Jack grabbed his weapon. We hold them off. Serena, go. Find the gate. What she started. Jack looked her in the eyes. I promised I'd protect you. Go. I'll be right behind you. Serena hesitated, then ran toward a secret passage into the palace. The enemy came fast. Hunters in dark armor stormed the area, firing red beams. Jack fired back, covering the rebels as they retreated. He fought fiercely, moving between walls, dodging blasts, using every trick he knew. One hunter got too close. Jack used his knife quick and silent, but there were too many. A rebel screamed as he fell. Another was captured. Jack was forced to fall back, bleeding from his shoulder. He smashed a door and slipped inside a dark tunnel. Inside, he could barely stand. He leaned against a wall, breathing hard. Then he heard footsteps. He raised his weapon but froze. It was Serena. She had returned. You came back? He asked. Surprise. Serena nodded. You promised me. I promise you, too. We finished this together. She helped him stand. Okay. They walked deeper into the palace tunnels. At last, they reached a large stone door with golden writing. Serena placed her glowing wristband into the center. The stone door opened slowly. Inside was a bright chamber, and in the middle, a platform with a giant silver ring. The Stargate still works, Serena whispered. Jack looked at her. Then let's go. But before they could step forward, a deep voice filled the room. You're not going anywhere. They turned. The black armored hunter stood at the entrance, weapon in hand. Serena gasped. He followed us. Jack stepped in front of her. You'll have to go through me. The hunter aimed. Jack didn't move. Serena looked at Jack, her eyes full of fear. But Jack whispered, "I'm not done yet." Atia, the hunter, raised his weapon. Red light gathered at the tip, ready to fire. Jack stood in front of Serena, arms out, shielding her. His body was weak, bleeding, but his eyes were strong and shaken. Serena's heart raced. She had seen war, betrayal, and death. But in this moment, it was the human soldier in front of her who showed her what courage truly meant. The hunter sneered. "Move aside, human. She belongs to us." Jack grinned, even in pain. "Then come and take her." The red beam fired. Jack pushed Serena out of the way and jumped to the side. The blast hit the wall, exploding stone and fire. Dust filled the room. Jack rolled behind a pillar and fired back. His shots were weaker. Now his rifle nearly broken, but every bullet showed his spirit. Serena hid behind the gate control. Watching in horror, the hunter was too strong, too fast. Another blast came, this time hitting Jack in the leg. He fell, groaning, but still raised his gun. "I don't fall that easy," Jack growled. The hunter walked toward him slowly, aiming for the final shot. Just then, a loud boom echoed behind them. The wall exploded, and a group of rebels stormed in. One of them shouted for the princess. The hunters were caught off guard. Blasts flew from every direction. The room turned into chaos. Serena ran to Jack and pulled him to safety. "You came back for me," he whispered. "You would have done the same," he replied with a shaky smile as the rebels fought the enemy. Serena activated the gate. The giant silver ring lit up with blue energy. Symbols spun across its surface. A beam of light shot through the center, forming a glowing portal. "It's ready," she shouted. Jack looked at the gate, barely able to stand. "We go now?" Serena nodded. "Yes, that world, the safe world, is waiting." The rebels held off the last wave of hunters. One of them ran to Serena. "Go, princess. We'll hold him." Jack grabbed a side wall and pushed himself up. He limped toward the gate with Serena holding his arm. But the hunter wasn't finished. With a roar, he threw off the rebels and charged at them. Sword raised. Jack turned and fired the last bullet. Click. Empty. He threw the gun. It hit the hunter's face, slowing him for 1 second. 1 second was enough. Serena raised her glowing wristband and activated the emergency blast. A shock wave pulsed out, throwing the hunter backward. He crashed into the wall and didn't move again. Jack smiled. "Nice trick." Serena grabbed his hand. Now they jumped into the gate. A flash of blue light swallowed them. For a moment, it felt like falling through the stars. Then, suddenly, the light faded. Jack opened his eyes. They stood on a green field under a purple sky. A calm breeze blew. Flowers danced across the land. Small lakes sparkled under twin moons. It was peaceful. It was alive. Jack fell to his knees, exhausted. Serena held him. "You're safe now." Jack looked around. "Where are we?" "My father called it Eris," Serena said softly. "A world he kept hidden. Only the gate can bring us here." Jack smiled faintly. "It's beautiful." She nodded. "It's home now." They stayed by the water, resting. Days passed. Jack's wounds healed slowly. Serena helped him walk, and in return, he showed her how to set up defenses for the gates, just in case. One night, the stars lit the sky. Jack sat on a hill, watching the moons. Serena joined him, her silver hair glowing in the light. "You never gave up," she said, "even when it hurt." Jack shrugged. "You didn't either." She took out the glowing ring and placed it in his hand again. "This time," she said softly, "I offer it not for protection, but for trust forever." Jack looked at the ring, then at her. He didn't speak. He just slipped the ring onto his finger. She smiled. "I want to rebuild. she said. A new kingdom. It's one of peace, far from war. Will you stay? Jack looked at the stars. For years, he had been lost. A soldier with no purpose, a man without a home. Now, he had both. I'm not going anywhere, he said, but far across the galaxy. In the ruins of the old palace, a spark of red light flickered. A damaged hunter suit twitched. One eye glowed dimly. The war was not over yet, but neither was their story. Peace had returned, but it didn't last long. One quiet morning on Eris, Serena stood near the lake, watching the sunrise. Birds flew overhead, their wings glowing under the twin suns. Jack walked beside her, now stronger, the scars on his body healing slowly. It feels like a dream, Jack said softly. Oh, too perfect. Serena smiled, but didn't speak. Her heart still carried the weight of her destroyed home. Suddenly, a loud beeping noise echoed from the small gate station nearby. Jack rushed inside, checking the screen. His face turned pale. What is it? Serena asked. Jack pointed at the flashing dots. They've found the gate. Somehow, the hunters are coming. Serena stepped back, shocked. But the gate is locked. Only my code. Jack stared at the screen. They must have found the backup key, maybe from your palace, before it was destroyed. Serena looked out at the sky. Think Eris is no longer safe. Jack's voice was calm but serious. We have to go. Within hours, they packed supplies and activated the gate one last time. Serena's ship had been repaired, now fully powered with help from Eris energy sources. The rebels, on a few in number, helped set a course toward a hidden star colony far beyond enemy reach. Jack loaded the ship with food, weapons, and tools. Serena walked to him quietly. We may never return here, she said. Jack placed a hand on her shoulder. But we'll survive. We always do. She nodded. Then let's escape and build something better. As they boarded the ship, alarms rang again. A hunter ship burst through the gate behind them, flying fast and firing red beams toward the ground. Jack jumped into the pilot's seat. We don't have time. Serena activated the ship's launch. Engines. They rose from the surface of Eris's fire, trailing behind them. Explosions shook the ground as the hunter ship followed. Jack steered sharply, avoiding blasts. Hang on, he shouted. Serena locked in the coordinates for the new colony. Hyperjump, ready in 30 seconds. The enemy ship came closer. One shot hit the side of Serena's ship. The lights flickered. Jack cursed. Shields down to 40%. Serena ran to the back panel and rerouted the power. I'll fix the shield. You fly? Jack flew straight into a field of glowing asteroids near Eris. The enemy chased them, but the rocks were dangerous, fast-moving, and sharp. Jack whispered, let's see if you can dance. Turned the ship fast, dodging rocks. The enemy ship crashed into one of them, spinning out of control. Serena yelled, jump drive is ready. Jack hit the switch. Boom. The stars stretched. The ship disappeared into light. Moments later, silence. Serena's ship floated in calm space, far from any danger. Jack leaned back, breathing hard. That was too close. Serena sat beside him. But we made it. Jack turned to her. Where's this new colony? She smiled. Far beyond the war zones. A place where no map leads. A fresh start. They looked out the window together. A blue planet shimmered ahead, full of life, untouched. We'll build there, Jack asked. Serena nodded. Keys. A new city. No kings, no soldiers. Just peace. Okay. Placed a glowing ring on the dashboard. Okay. Then this is where the story begins. Months later, a small city had formed near a waterfall on the New World. Homes made of stone and glass. Gardens, laughing children. People from many planets had come, seeking peace. Jack trained new defenders, not soldiers, but protectors. Serena worked with leaders to build schools and hospitals. They had become something more than just survivors. They were builders of a better world. One night, Serena stood on a balcony, watching the stars. Jack joined her. "We did it," she said. "Yeah," Jack replied. "And if they come again, we'll be ready," Serena said. Jack smiled. "And if they don't?" She looked at him. "Then we'll be happy." Far away, deep in the shadows of space, the last hunter watched from a ruined ship. He was scarred, broken, but alive. He stared at the stars, searching. But this time, he turned his ship away. Even a hunter knows when the hunt is over. Back on the new world, a statue stood near the town square. A tall human soldier, one arm around a glowing alien princess, both looking toward the stars. Under it, the words, "Peace is not given, it is chosen by the brave." And thus, their journey ended not with war, but with hope. A soldier who stayed, a princess who believed, and a future that belonged to both.